Good day everyone, I'm researcher Shirei En. Today I would like to present about our research title, which is Factors that affect the travelling behaviour among Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19. This research was conducted together with my groupmate. They are Mr. Muhammad Yusof, Ms. Liu Zizhen, Ms. En Jieming, Mr. Song Shujian, and Ms. Tan Yiqi. Today's presentation outline we have 6 main points. Now we would like to kickstart with our problem statement. The first problem statement is the loss in tourism sector. Originally, Malaysia will be launching a tourism campaign called Visit Malaysia 2020. Unexpectedly, COVID-19 has affected many sectors, and the tourism sector is one of them. Consequently, the campaign entitled Visit Malaysia 2020 is forced to be suspended due to the uncertain situation and the spreading of the virus. Thus, travelling activities has to be postponed or even cancelled, as there is no sign on how long the pandemic of COVID-19 will last or even end. Second, it will be the youth tourism. The youth travel market is one of the most rapidly developing markets of the tourism industry. According to United Nations World Tourism Organization, they measure that the year 2020, there will be around 300 million international youth trips yearly, which shows a 59% development in 10 years. Also, the youth travel market is more flexible than the remaining of the tourism industry because economic decline will affect less on youth travel. Youth travelers are also influencers. They can set trends and draw others to use certain products and visit certain recommended tourist spots. Thus, this research will bring an understanding of the factors that affect the Malaysian youth from travelling to their destination during the pandemic of COVID-19. Therefore, this research is important because if the youth travelling behaviour was very much affected due to the pandemic of COVID-19, the percentage of youth travelling to heal time by time will be a challenge for the country economy. We will talk about the research objective. First is to identify the factors that affect the travelling behaviour among Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19. Second is to investigate the travelling behaviour towards Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19. We are now looking at our framework. We have applied the theory of planned behaviour, which was initially called the theory of reasoned action in 1980 by Isaac Asen. So, as you can see on the framework, we have demographic factors of the respondent and form the factors that affect the respondent travelling behaviour. Together, we also have the attitudes towards travelling, subjective norm, perceived behavioural control, which come together and shape intention and form the youth travelling behaviour. We will now proceed to the literature review about travel behaviour and travel motivation. According to Patakarya and Kumar, travel behaviour refers to how the traveller behaves based on their attitude before, during, and after the trip. Travel behaviour can also be explained as the traveller decision on their route choice, departure choice, travel choice, and so on. According to Aspala, the current modern world craves for the geographic movement and visuals. Therefore, this has speeded up the innovation of camera, which provide people to have tons of vision and pictures. This has formed a component of modern travelling cultures. Therefore, it shows that modern tourism is formed through social, material, and culture by the exhibition and pictures of the destination. We will now continue with travel motivation. According to Susik, tourists who travel aims to fulfill several demands. What is demand? Demand could be known as a requirement from one or a group of people for a material product along with the reason for releasing emotion of annoyance and attaining some welfare. According to Mahika, the motivation of the tourist could come from first, psychological motive, second, it will be emotional motive, and personal motive, followed by the personal development motives and cultural motives. Therefore, tourism motivation could be defined as a group of demand which affect an individual to join in a tourism activity. We will now continue with the methodology. First is the research design. We will have cross-sectional study, which is under descriptive research design. According to Cherry, cross-sectional study is frequently used in order to find out the connection of possible relationships, which are the positive relationship between the factors that affect and travel behavior change. For the sampling, techniques for sampling can be divided into probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Thus, researchers choose purposive sampling, which is under the category of non-probability sampling. For our sample, there were a total of 50 million plus Malaysian youth according to the Institute of Youth Research Malaysia. Therefore, according to the Crunchy and Morgan table, our sample size is 384 people. However, we have added on until to 400 respondents because we wish to eliminate the incomplete responses for our respondent. For our instrumentation, questionnaire has been included in a survey conducted by the researcher under the quantitative research method. The questionnaire for this study consists of 4 sections. Section A will be the demographic data of our respondent, Section B is the attitude, C will be the subjective norm, and D will be the perceived behavioral control and intention of travelling. In Section A, a nominal scale will be used for measuring the data collected. For example, the question will ask about the gender of respondent. Therefore, the answer could be male or female. In the following section B, C, and D, ordinal rating scale, which also known as Likert scale, will be applied, as you can see on the screen attached. For the example, the question is, I like traveling because it helped me to release my stress. Therefore, the respondent could answer from the scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree. For the data collection procedure, as in this new normal life, everyone was encouraged to maintain social distance during the pandemic of COVID-19. So, online Google Form was chosen as the tool to create questionnaire for this research and distribute through online social platform. In Malaysia, the youth who aged 18 to 24 has 34.5% in using social media, and the main factor of them using social media was peer-to-peer communication. Therefore, social media platforms such as Facebook and WhatsApp were the platform to distribute the questionnaire for our data collection. The data collection has been conducted by distributing the survey to our respondents who aged from 18 to 23 years old. The survey has collected a total of 400 responses within 19 days, which was from 28th of January until 16th of February. We will now talk about the reliability. Reliability means how consistently a method calculates a particular thing if the identical outcome could be consistently accomplished by applying the identical methods under the same situation. The measurement is thought as reliable. For this research, internal consistency method has been used in order to maintain the reliability of this study. About the validity of the research, a pilot test has been run to test the accuracy of the questionnaire. For your information, the validity of the Combra alpha should be above 0.64, and for those who below 0.64 has been eliminated. This pilot test has been conducted by distributing the survey to respondents who aged from 18 to 23 years old. We have collected 55 responses within 3 days. In order to measure the reliability of the questionnaire, a reliability test has been conducted on 27th of January. The reliability test was conducted by using the software named SPSS. The reliability test was conducted 3 times as there are 3 variables in the questionnaire. As you can see, we have attached the reliability statistic on the screen. The first variable is attitude towards traveling. So the Combra alpha for the first variable is 0.87. Furthermore, the second variable is subjective norm. The Combra alpha is 0.46, which is not acceptable because it's under 0.64. Therefore, we have referred to the column named Combra alpha if item deleted from the table of items total statistic. We notice that by removing question number 6, we will achieve 0.531 for our Combra alpha. Also, by removing question 10, we will achieve 0.614. After removing both questions, we're able to get 0.677 for our Combra alpha. In order to achieve higher Combra alpha, we also refer back to this item total statistic, and then we learn that by removing question 5, we will achieve 0.735 for our Combra alpha. Therefore, question 5 was removed and the reliability test was run once again. Researchers get to have 0.735 for Combra alpha of subjective norm of the pandemic of COVID-19. Followed by the third variable, which is perceived behavioral control and intention of travelling, we get to have 0.787 for our Combra alpha. Now, we will talk about our findings. We have 4 findings in this research. First is the demographic data, followed by attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control and intention of travelling. For the first finding is demographic data. Most of the respondents are female, which is the group of gender that is more likely to go for travel. Followed by the age, the researchers can interpret that the age of youth they are most likely to go for traveling are 21, 22, and 23 years old. By looking at the result, the researchers can study that Chinese are more likely to go for travel based on the pie chart of race. And then, for the religion, the highest percentage of the respondents were having the religion of Buddhism, which was 57%. As you can see on the educational level pie chart, there was 66% of respondents who have a degree education level, and this is the highest percentage compared to other respondents. Hence, respondents who have a degree education will most likely go for traveling. For the source of income, there were 44% of respondents have their source of income from their family. This is also the highest percentage. Therefore, respondents who have their source of income from their family are most likely to go for traveling. Now, we will proceed to the attitude towards traveling. Based on the findings, the attitude of traveling behavior among Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19 could be considered positive. This is because the respondent of the questionnaire, most of the respondents found that traveling helped them in releasing stress, escaping from reality, enjoying their me time, bring them valuable memories, and making them feel pleasant and relaxed. Most of the respondents agree that traveling does benefit them in enhancing their mental health. This also benefits them in viewing things from different perspectives. When it comes to person who travel with, respondents do prefer traveling with their family members and backpacking with their friends. Respondents also prefer traveling packages as everything is planned beforehand, and most of them being neutral when it comes to staycation. Followed by the subjective norm, it shows that the respondents are aware of the COVID-19 information and try to avoid the virus infection. The respondents also terminate the traveling plan due to the border closure. Respondent also shows that they will only travel in the green zone as they think green zone is verified to allow traveling. Other than that, the statistics show that most of the respondents are aware of the concern of other people. This is because most of the respondents will terminate their traveling plan when other people inform them about traveling may cause the virus spread. We will now proceed to the perceived behavioral control. Based on the findings, most of the respondents do have control on their traveling behavior. This is because most of the respondents will follow their traveling plan which they plan before traveling. They will also adjust the traveling plan if any emergency happens, and they can control the expenses based on the budget. Furthermore, most of them continue traveling regardless of the extreme weather. We will now proceed to the discussion. For the first discussion, we can see that the research showed that 44% of the respondents receive income from their family as mentioned before. Therefore, researchers found that this 44% of respondents might spend the money they receive from their family, and then this particular source of income might be the factors that affect their traveling behavior. Furthermore, the research showed that 14% out of 400 respondents work as part-time for their source of income. Meanwhile, most of the respondents were studying for their tertiary education, which are degree, diploma, and foundation. Thus, researchers could learn that 14% of respondents are working and studying at the same time. Thus, the schedule of career and academic might be the factors that affect this 14% of respondent traveling behavior. For the second discussion, researchers learned that the 155 respondents might not be exposed to the new culture of staycation, or they just prefer other way of traveling because they hold neutral opinion when it comes to staycation. Meanwhile, 34% of respondents agree when it comes to backpacking with their friend, and 36.3% respondents strongly agree about this. Thus, researchers could learn that respondents are more familiar with backpacking compared to staycation. We will now continue with our recommendation. First recommendation of this research is to widen the scope of study by studying more age group of our Malaysian society rather than just focusing on the youth. For example, researchers could know that the factors that affect the traveling behavior of one during the puberty, adolescent, adulthood, middle adulthood, or late adulthood. Thus, a wider scope of study which involves a few age groups will help the research to be more effective, where a comparison between these age groups can be made. The second recommendation is cover the timeline about the period before the pandemic started. This helps us to understand how COVID-19 brings an impact on the country, especially on the tourism industry and specifically on the youth tourism. If the topic of this research can be further studied by other group of researchers, the post-pandemic study can help to understand the recovery process of the tourism industry. Researchers could make use of emails or phone calls to help them directly contact their targeted audience. The email could help them in notifying the respondent about the survey and also provide a brief understanding about the survey to the respondent. Meanwhile, using phone call as part of the data collection method provide a direct question and answer section with the respondent. This method helps the respondent to understand the questionnaire better and the purpose of the study itself. This research could have more respondents by having more alternative or data collection method, and we could meet the required number of sample size. Thus, researchers can collect the total amount needed for data within a short period and save time for the other part of research. For our limitation, first limitation is the closed-ended question. The respondent only answer according to the choices given, which means the respondent could not express more about their opinion on that particular question. In short, the data will be affected by such insufficient information from the data collection. Second is the lack of related research about COVID-19. As COVID-19 was a new topic to the world, less research was conducted on this topic. Hence, researchers had limited reliable source to develop a new study. For our implication, first, it will bring benefit to the tourism industry in Malaysia. By knowing the factors that affect the travelling behaviour among Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19, the government is able to take initiative to attract Malaysian youth to travel within Malaysia by complementing the factors that make Malaysian youth want to travel. Tourism Malaysia will be a good start for the government to take initiative in improving the tourism industry. In a study conducted by MES, it is observed that a well understanding of target market psychological factors play a crucial part in creating the successful event. Hence, this research will benefit the tourism industry in Malaysia, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. For the second implication is the in-depth research regarding psychological factors for travelling behaviour. According to Q, Mashiro and Lee, psychological factors play a major role in determining travel behaviour, and limited study have been done to understand it. Further research has the opportunity to branch out into more specific topics. For example, further research is able to research psychological factors on choosing a destination. We have now reached to the conclusion. In conclusion, researchers have studied that the factors that affect the travelling behaviour of Malaysian youth during the pandemic of COVID-19. By using the quantitative research method, throughout the research, researchers realized that the attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control thus serve as the factors of affecting youth travel behaviour. That's all from today's presentation. Thank you.